Are you ready?
Welcome back to Clutch Time with Mike on the mic. It's your boy Mike, and I'm back with another video. Uh, been gone for a few weeks, guys. Been handling some stuff and being an adult. You know how that goes. But as you guys should know, we are in the thick of NFL free agency. I believe it started yesterday at noon. I was about to say noon o'clock. At noon yesterday. So of course, I got Adam Schefter's tweet sent to my phone. Been all over social media looking at stuff, just trying to find out what's going on, who's going where, what teams are getting better, what teams are getting worse. So I've got a list of all of the moves. Well, I've got pictures of all the moves that have happened. I'm gonna go over them with y'all. First up, we got the Seahawks agreed to terms with defensive tackle Leonard Williams on a 3-year deal, averaging $21.5 million per year. One of the better defensive tackles in the league, so the Seahawks have bolstered their defense to get better. The 49ers signed defensive end Leonard Floyd to a 2-year, $20 million deal. The rich get richer. As you guys know, I think the 49ers have the best defensive line in football. They've just done nothing but gotten better. Uh, on that sentence, sticking with the 49ers, they did Chase Young, who was traded there in the middle of the season. He's got a visit scheduled with my Tennessee Titans. He's also going to visit the Panthers and the Saints first. Let's get him to Tennessee, get him whatever he wants. We got so much money in cap space. Let's sign him. We got to bolster that defensive line because Jeffrey Simmons can't do it all by himself. We lost Denico Autry to the Texans. I'll get into that a little bit later. So if we can get Chase Young in, let's get him. Let's see what else we got. Speaking of the Houston Texans in the AFC South, the Texans so far have signed edge Danielle Hunter to a 2-year, $49 million deal. They traded for Joe Mixon after he was scheduled to be released by the Bengals. They ended up deciding not to release him and ended up trading him for draft picks. They re-signed Dalton Schultz for 3 years, $36 million. They got from my Titans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair for 3 years, $34 million. So we need to find a linebacker to replace him. They also, from my Titans, got a defensive lineman, Denico Autry, who, if I'm not mistaken, led the Titans in sacks this year. So that's a big loss for us. And they also signed cornerback Jeff Okudah for 1 year, $6 million. I believe Jeff Okudah was the 3rd overall pick in the draft a few years ago out of Ohio State. So obviously his career is not panning out where the way that he thought it was going to be and the way that a lot of us thought it was going to be. But him going to play with DeMeco Ryans is a big move for him. Maybe he'll revive his career there. What else we got? Let's see. The Broncos and the Browns agreed to a deal today or the other day to send wide receiver Jerry Jeudy to Cleveland in exchange for 2 draft picks. So Cleveland's trying to bolster their wide receiving core. Jared Jeudy has not turned out to be what I thought he was going to be coming out of Alabama, the Biletnikoff winner. Maybe he can find new life in Cleveland versus being in Denver. Who knows? We'll see. Let's see. The Chiefs re-signed 5-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Chris Jones on, like I said, a 5-year deal. He got $95 million guaranteed, so that puts him, if I'm not mistaken, he's the 2nd highest paid defensive tackle in football now, right below Joey Bosa, but over Aaron Donald. So well deserved on that money with his 3rd Super Bowl earlier this year with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see. My Titans last year ended up trading Kevin Byard, their all-pro safety, to the Philadelphia Eagles for a player back in draft picks. The Eagles ended up releasing Kevin Byard this offseason. He signed a 2-year deal with the Bears. And then Baker Mayfield re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3 years, $100 million contract, but with incentives, he can get a max value of $115 million. In 2024, he'll make $30 million. In 2025, he'll make $30 million, including $20 million guaranteed. And in 2026, he can make $40 million. And like I said, $5 million per year in incentives. So 3 years, $115 million. And then the big news coming out as far as quarterbacks moving around, 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback and former Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson is going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He signed a team-friendly 1-year deal. But the crazy part is this is how you know that an organization or a head coach, whoever it is that made the decision, is fed up with a player. The Broncos traded all that capital to get Russell Wilson, signed him to that mega $240-something million deal, gave him all that guaranteed money. They got Sean Payton as the head coach, and then 2 years into that contract, they said, you know what, we're done with it. So they ended up cutting him. And then because they cut him, they're going to take on $85 million in dead cap space. That's $85 million that they can't upgrade their roster and continue to get better. So that's how you know that either he was fed up with them or they were fed up with him or they just couldn't get it together. So he's going to play in Pittsburgh up under Mike Tomlin. So we'll see how that goes for him. Let's see. The Lions re-signed offensive guard Graham Glasgow to a 3-year, $20 million deal. With $9.5 million guaranteed. The Colts signed linebacker Zaire Franklin to a 3-year, $31.26 million contract extension. So he's staying in Indianapolis. And then big news, I immediately texted my boy Juice yesterday morning. He was punching air because he was upset. The Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins requested a trade. He wanted to stay in Cincinnati. He was trying to work out a long-term deal, but they haven't had any contract talk since March of last year. They franchise tagged him, but then he requested a trade, so I'm pretty sure they're going to get him up out of there for wherever he goes. Come on to Tennessee. We need some wide receiver help. Do something. Do something, Tennessee front office. Do something. Let's see here. What else we got? Who is this? Bills 3-time Pro Bowl left tackle Dion Dawkins signed a 3-year, $60.5 million extension. That makes him the 4th highest paid tackle in the league. So Josh Allen keeps his left tackle. He's protecting his blind side, so that's good for them. What else? The Eagles lost running back DeAndre Swift to the Bears on a 3-year, $24 million deal, including $15.3 million guaranteed. And the reason why I keep saying guaranteed is because in the NFL, if you don't know, now you will know, players, let's say today I sign a 5-year deal for $200 million with $150 million guaranteed. Or no, let me give you a better example. Let's say I signed today a 5-year deal for $200 million with no money guaranteed. Let's say tomorrow I go to the gym to go lift and I tear my ACL or I tear something in my leg to the point where I'm not going to be able to play. And they decide, you know what, we just gave that money, let's cut him. In the NFL, that $200 million contract that I just signed, I get none of that money. In the NFL, players are always trying to re-sign contracts and get bigger money because the more guaranteed money you get, that's money that they have to pay you regardless of what happens. So that's why you see players will sign a deal and then 2 years later they feel like they've outplayed the deal. Now they want a better deal with more guaranteed money. That's why you hear a lot of contracts say, "Oh, he signed for 5 years, $250 million. How much was the guaranteed money? Because how much is he going to get out of that contract?" Because NFL players very rarely play out their entire contract with either getting an extension, getting traded, getting cut, whatever the case may be. Let's see here. Former Texans pass rusher Jonathan Greenard signed a 4-year, $76 million deal that includes $42 million guaranteed with the Vikings. Like I was saying, that guaranteed money. I'll come back to that one. That one's just gonna make me mad. The Pro Bowl left tackle David Bakhtiari. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. He got released by the Green Bay Packers. He was Aaron Rodgers' blindside tackle for the longest time. He spent a few years with Jordan Love, and now they're releasing him. I don't know if it's a result of a cap hit or because he's fallen off. I don't know. I hadn't really watched a lot of Green Bay games this year with Aaron Rodgers not being there. Let's see. Josh Allen lost one of his wide receivers. Gabe Davis signed a 3-year, $39 million deal that includes the $11 million at signing with the Jaguars. So Trevor Lawrence gets some more help when his wide receiving core. Let's see. The Dolphins, former Dolphins defensive tackle Christian Wilkins is signing a 4-year, $110 million base value deal that includes $84.75 million with the Raiders. So the Raiders are able to upgrade their defensive line along with their defensive end, Max. Is it Max Crosby? Max somebody, the white boy with all the tattoos. It's a bad boy. So him and Christian Wilkins will be wrecking shop in the AFC West. So Good come up for the Raiders there with new head coach Antonio Pierce. Shout out to him for getting that job. Seahawks free agent tight end Kobe Parkinson signed a 3-year, $22.5 million deal, including $15.5 million guaranteed with the Los Angeles Rams. So he gets out of Seattle with Geno Smith and goes to play with Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles, playing up under Sean McVay. So that'll be good for him. The Eagles, the rich get richer. The Eagles signed free agent defensive end Bryce Huff. He signed a 3-year, $51.1 million deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Bryce Huff last year had 10 sacks, so that will allow the Eagles to continue to entertain trade offers for Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick. My boss, Shawana, she's a big Eagles fan, and she said if they trade Hassan Reddick, she's going to be over it. She's going to be done with it. She just don't understand. But I don't think they'll get rid of Hassan Reddick. They'll probably get rid of Josh Sweat before they get rid of Hassan Reddick. That's just my thinking, but I could be wrong. Let's see. And then the Eagles also signed former Giants running back Saquon Barkley. He signed a 3-year, $37.75 million contract that could be worth up to $46.75 million and includes $26 million fully guaranteed at signing. He beats the franchise tag number and has the maximum average per year salary of $15.833 million, which would be the second highest for a running back in NFL history. So, like I said, the rich get richer. Jalen Hurts now has another weapon that can block, can run, can catch. He can do it all in the backfield. He's a dynamic running back, and the Giants. And this is the crazy part about that whole story. Saquon last year tried to get a long-term deal done with the Giants because he didn't want to leave New York. They wouldn't pay him. They decided to pay Daniel Jones all that money and didn't pay Saquon. So now Saquon is going to the Philly, and now the Giants are going to have to see him twice a year. So if he can stay healthy, the Eagles can be as dominant as they've been over the last few years. It's going to be a long day for New York Giants fans when Philly comes into town. Let's see what else we got here. Former Dolphins linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel agreed to terms on a 2-year deal with the Vikings for $20 million, including $14 million guaranteed. Also, big news: the Falcons are giving Kirk Cousins a 4-year, $180 million deal, including $100 million guaranteed. So that averages out to $45 million per average per year. So the crazy part about that is, if you guys know anything about Kirk Cousins, we're going to call Kirk the finesse Cousins. That's what we're going to call him. He's literally he got his money in Washington as a rookie on his rookie deal, and then he went to Minnesota, and I believe he signed 2 contracts in Minnesota, 2 or 3. All of them were fully guaranteed contracts. So he got all of the money from those contracts, whether it be 3 years, $80 million, how much ever it was, he got full money from that. Then he goes to the Falcons. He got $180 million and $100 million guaranteed. So what that means is basically he's made close to, if he plays out this full contract and gets all the money, he will have made somewhere around $400 to $450 million in his NFL career. And the crazy part about that is Kirk Cousins has one playoff win. One playoff win in his 12 years of playing. It's crazy to me. And he's coming off of an Achilles injury, so hopefully he can get back to being somewhat good, because I know the Falcons are hoping that he's going to be able to lead them to the promised land. But again, he's still Kirk Cousins, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Former Packers guard John Runyan reached an agreement on a 3-year deal with the New York Giants for $30 million, including $17 million guaranteed at signing. So the Packers offensive line takes another hit, losing their left tackle and losing the guard. Panther fans. Panthers are giving the Dolphins former guard Robert Hunt a 5-year, $100 million deal that includes $63 million guaranteed. So you got somebody. Not who y'all wanted or not what y'all looking for, but you got somebody. You got to protect Bryce Young. Let's see here. I already talked about Jeff Okudah. The Packers did re-sign free agent safety Xavier McKinney to a 4-year, $68 million deal, which is a $17 million per year average. They didn't have guaranteed money details for that one. Let's see. The Giants gave former free agent Texans running back Devin Singletary a 3-year deal for $16.5 million, with the deal worth up to $19.5 million. I don't know what the guaranteed money is there. The Colts re-signed defensive tackle Grover Stewart to a 3-year, $39 million deal. Don't know what the guaranteed money is there, but the Colts are trying to shore up their defense. Former Ravens running back Gus Edwards reached an agreement on a 2-year deal with the Chargers. He will reunite with former Ravens and current Chargers assistant Greg Roman. Greg Roman was the former offensive coordinator in Baltimore before he was replaced for Todd Monken. The Ravens free agent safety Geno Stone to the Bengals. They didn't give contract details on that one. The former Panthers linebacker Frankie Luvu, he agreed to a 3-year deal with the Washington Commanders for a maximum of $36 million. No guaranteed money information there, so the Panthers lose somebody else on defense. The Browns defensive tackle Maurice Hurst is re-signing with Cleveland on a 1-year deal worth up to $3.2 million. Who is this? Former Browns linebacker Anthony Walker agreed to terms with the Dolphins on a 1-year deal. Saints linebacker, former linebacker Zach Bond, he signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Eagles are trying to shore up that linebacking core, because we know that towards the end, I think they started 10-1, whatever it was, and then at the bottom just fell out, and their defense just looked terrible. So they're trying to get back ready on defense, because they got all the offensive pieces. Their defense that needs work. What else? The 49ers tendered a 1-year contract to restricted free agent Jawan Jennings. There was also a trade yesterday. The Lions received cornerback Carlton Davis, the Buccaneers 2024 6th-round pick, and a 2025 6th-round pick. The Buccaneers received the Lions 2024 3rd-round pick, so a 3rd-round pick in this year's draft. And then big news out of Carolina. The Panthers sent franchise pass rusher Brian Burns to the New York Giants for a 2nd-round pick this year and a 5th-round pick next year. And the crazy part about that was I can't remember what team it was last year. Some team offered Carolina like 2 1st-round picks and like a crazy amount of draft capital for Brian Burns. They turned it down. And then they turned around this year only to trade him for a 2nd and a 5th-round pick. Couldn't even get a 1st-round pick. I'm sorry, Panther fans. I don't know what to tell you, man. I know that hurts your heart. I know it does. When I heard the news, I immediately texted my boy Paul, sent it to him. He was like, bro, don't piss me off today. I was like, I'm not the one pissing you off. You can talk to your franchise. Now, the Titans did make a signing yet. Well, they made a few signings, but I'm going to get back to one of them in a minute. This one, we did sign Lloyd Cushenberry to a 4-year deal for $50 million. He got $26 million fully guaranteed at signing, $30 million total. He got $30 million cash flow over 2 years, most ever for a center. In my eyes, outside of Jason Kelce, probably the 2nd best center in football. But now he probably is the best center in football because Jason Kelce retired. So hopefully that works out for my Titans, because we definitely are offensive line. They committed the Cardinal sin, as I said in podcasts before. They let them get old together. So trying to move in pieces and see who can still play versus who can't play. It's a hard deal. It's a hard thing to do. Former Chargers running back Austin Ekeler signed a 2-year deal with the Washington Commanders. He's not good to me. He's just slow, but that's my opinion. Former Seahawks linebacker Jordan Brooks signed a 3-year deal with the Miami Dolphins for $30 million, so $10 million a year. Look at Josh Allen coming to the rescue. The Bills restructured the contract of Josh Allen, converting much of his 2024 compensation into a signing bonus, creating $16.7 million in 2024 cap space. So now his cap hit is only $30.356 million this year. So he's trying to work with the organization to get them more money to be able to sign more players to keep their Super Bowl window open. The Patriots found their quarterback after they traded Mac Jones to the Jaguars. They signed Jacoby Brissett. He's going back to New England. What else? Former Vikings linebacker Jordan Hicks is signing a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Browns. Jordan Hicks is one of when he's healthy, one of the better linebackers in football. He can read, react, he can run side to side. He's going to Cleveland, who had, in my opinion, probably the best statistical defense in the NFL last year. So hopefully that works out for them. It works out for him. The Ravens are re-signing free agent linebacker Malik Harrison to a 1-year deal. The Buccaneers are also re-signing free agent running back Chase Edmonds to a 1-year deal. Like I said earlier, Joe Mixon got traded to the Texans after he was saying he was going to be released, but that's because the Bengals signed former Colts running back Zach Moss on a 2-year, $8 million deal. So they traded Joe Mixon. The 49ers, former 49ers free agent D tackle Javon Kinlaw reached a 1-year deal with the New York Jets. What else we got here? What is my man's name? What is the running back's name from Josh Jacobs? Josh Jacobs ended up signing a deal with the Green Bay Packers. So that turned around and had the Green Bay Packers release Aaron Jones, who then turned around and signed with the Vikings on a 1-year, $7 million deal. Former Eagles quarterback Marcus Mariota signs a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders on a one-year deal with a base value of $6 million, with incentives making it up to $10 million. Former Patriots tight end Mike Gesicki signs a 1-year deal up to $3.25 million with the Cincinnati Bengals. If you don't know who Mike Gesicki is, watch an old Dolphins game from a few years ago. He's the white guy doing the gritty. Just looked absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Former Bills running back Nyheim Hines signs a 1-year deal with the Browns for $3.5 million. So like I said, the Bills are losing pieces on their offense. They already didn't have a great running game to begin with. They lost a running back. They've lost a wide receiver. So Josh Allen, it's getting a little bit harder for you to make a run. Your Super Bowl window is closing. I know you're trying to keep it open, but it's closing. Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere. What else we got here? The Falcons signed former Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney, 3 years, $39 million, including $26 million guaranteed. Free agent Shaq Barrett, who used to play for the Buccaneers, signed with the Dolphins on a 1-year deal up to $9 million. I'm going to skip that one. Bengals free agent tight end Irv Smith reached an agreement to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, so he'll be a backup to Travis Kelce or a second tight end on the field. Free agent safety Deion Bush is returning to the Chiefs on a 1-year deal. The New York Giants are giving former Seahawks quarterback Drew Lock a 1-year guaranteed $5 million deal. That's probably for insurance for Daniel Jones, who can't stay healthy, who I don't think they should have gave all that money to, who's not that good in my opinion. And then a big one earlier today, Ravens free agent linebacker Patrick Queen signed a 3-year, $41 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he goes up the road to a rival in the same division. So he'll see his former team twice a year. He goes to Pittsburgh. I sent that to my boy Tim. He called me immediately. He was hyped. It's a big move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are trying to get back to their winning ways with Mike Tomlin. What else we got here? Former Broncos linebacker Josie Jewell is signing a 3-year, $22.75 million deal, including a $7 million signing bonus with Carolina. So they got a linebacker there to kind of get on that defense. What else we got here? Now, let's talk about my Titans. Let's talk about why they disgust me and why it's so hard being a Titans fan. So, as you guys know, I've been saying on podcasts previous, we have Derrick Henry, who, in my opinion, if he's not the best running back in football, then he's second best behind CMC, or you can argue who's the best, whichever one's your flavor of the year, whatever the case may be. So, this is the one I skipped. We signed Tony Pollard from the Dallas Cowboys for 3 years, $24 million. I don't know how much the guaranteed money was. They didn't share that information. Then I feel like the reason why the Titans didn't sign Derrick Henry was because they didn't want to pay him. But then Derrick Henry turns around and signs with the Baltimore Ravens for a 2-year, $16 million deal. It can be worth up to $20 million with $9 million fully guaranteed in the first year. So you guys gave 1 extra year and $4 more million to a guy who's, to me, in my eyes, unproven versus a guy who's a bell cow, a workhorse, and the face of your franchise for the last 8 years. And you guys let him go over $4 million? Like, bruh, I just... So this is what I mean. So Derrick Henry's time in Tennessee ends after 8 years. He had over 2,000 carries, 9,502 rushing yards, which is only second in franchise history behind Eddie George. 90 rushing touchdowns. He was the Offensive Player of the Year in 2020, a 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL rushing leader, 2-time NFL rushing touchdown leader, and tied the NFL record with 6 games, 200 yards. So we let all of that production go, over $4 million. Now, my only thinking could be with this new head coach that we got, the offensive coordinator formerly of the Cincinnati Bengals, is they're trying to either make the offense faster or they're just trying to have backs who can get out in space and do work. That's the only thing I could think of. But to me, when the playoffs roll around, when it gets December, January, when it's cold, I want to be able to turn around and give the ball to a bell cow like Derrick Henry. That's just me. That's just how I was raised in football. So I personally don't understand, and it pisses me off to no end. Let me get off my soapbox because I'll be here all night. That's all I got for y'all this week, y'all. I just wanted to go over the NFL free agency. I'm sure there's more moves to come. Like I said, I'm getting Adam Schefter tweets to my phone so I know what's going on, so I can update as much as I can. I just went over all of the moves that have happened over the last 2 days, and like I said, that Derrick Henry move just set me smooth off because I don't understand. But whatever, I'm not the GM, I'm not the owner, it's not my money. Whatever, I'm just a man. But as always, I appreciate everybody that tunes in. I'll be back next week with more updates and whatever else is going on in the sports world. Shout out to my boy Xavier Worthy, wide receiver from my Texas Longhorns. Broke an NFL record at the draft combine running a 4.21 40. Shout out to him. Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers. Shout out to my boy LeBron James for breaking 40,000 points. The GOAT. Y'all can say what you want. He's the GOAT. I don't want to hear it. I'll holler at y'all.